What is good, everybody? It's your boy Pat the Designer back at it again. And we're here to break down a little bit of what we saw versus the 49ers and get into a little bit of week 2 action as well with the good kid, John Jurkovic from ESPN 1000. We'll get all that started and more starting now. Now, if you are new to the channel, please like the video. Please subscribe to the page. We do talk Chicago sports daily on this channel. It's the only channel talks Chicago Bears, how Bears talk. So make sure that you get in tune with us. And gotta welcome in the good kid, Jurko from ESPN 1000. Jurk, how you feeling?
Spot for them with the rookie quarterback they were playing against. And I think he's still a rookie quarterback because he didn't start last year. He just got a couple chances to play last year. I thought the Bears were in prime shape with new coaching staff, with a new spirit, with a new energy, with a new foundation, the hits principle, everything they had. I thought they were primed for the upset, and lo and behold, it happened. So I'm very happy going into week 2.
I got to give you credit because you absolutely called out everything that we saw in the game. If you guys were listening to Jurko over on the Carmen and Jurko show, man, I mean, like literally when you were going through your keys of the game, you were spot on. So here's the first question I got for you, Jurk.
Yeah.
What do you think was the biggest difference? I understand it's just week 1 and it's the craziest game we've seen out all of this, right? But what was the biggest difference, at least starting things off, that you saw that this regime implemented that we didn't see from the last regime?
All right, I think attitude. Now, what happens is I think he had attitude and player buy-in. And I think that goes hand in hand. What happens over the course of 4 years, I think it was 4 years, 18, 19, 20, 21.
Yeah.
What happens over the course of 4 years with, the same excitement, Nagy had that same excitement early on.
Yeah.
But then when things struggled, then people started to blame each other. Everybody started to blame everybody. And then that enthusiasm that you had your first year, it went out the building.
Right.
So the thing that needs to be learned here is, okay, how do we maintain that enthusiasm within the building? You maintain that enthusiasm by having a consistent message and not pointing fingers when things go wrong. And let me tell you, things will go wrong this year. This is not a perfect team by any stretch of the imagination. Your quarterback is not playing exceptional football by no stretch. He made a couple of key passes in key situations and found the open man and hit the open man. And that's all it took. I think defensively, this team is here. Yeah. I think offensively, this team has got a long way to go.
And that's a good way to go, right? Because you were the defensive guy. So when you looked at this defense, right, like, where do you feel like this defense has more talent on it than like I call them the national nerds. That's my thing. Like all these national nerds out here, this is going to be a 3-14 team. Does this defense have more talent on it than the national nerds may have expected? Or did the weather play more of an effect than we thought?
No, I think this was I think we went DVOA on this defense last year, and it was like 13th in DVOA. Yeah. This team also rushed the passer without Khalil Mack last year.
Yes.
Khalil Mack had 7 sacks in 8 games. And in the final 8 games, they were still able to get to the quarterback. Quinn showed an ability to get to the quarterback without Khalil Mack. Khalil Mack never showed the ability to get to the quarterback without somebody else helping him. He always needed somebody on that other side to be able to help him. Otherwise, they focused, they double-teamed, and they had problems. Quinn didn't have a problem. Yeah. When Khalil Mack went out of the game, Quinn didn't have a problem getting to the quarterback. So I thought that was impressive last year on Quinn's part. And I also believe they thought they had some talent on the defensive line. They missed out on the kid from Cincinnati. Life goes on. Yeah. You got your system of checks and balances in place. They went and got number 93, Jones, I believe his name is.
Justin Jones, yep.
Yeah, he had a little Spitfire.
Yeah, I like him.
He looks like a little pit bull in there. He's going to make things happen. I like him. I always think if you have a solid defensive line, you can play any 3 linebackers, you're going to be in pretty good shape. Yeah. You happen to have some Roquan Smith with a little bit of talent. 55 had a chance to make some plays in the game. He didn't have a great game. Yeah. But I think 55's got a chance to play a little bit better. He'll look at that film last week. Who's the big receiver for San Francisco? Samuel?
Debo Samuel. Yeah.
Debo, when he ran Eddie Jackson over.
Yeah.
You'd have never saw Eddie Jackson get run over. 55 could have done his job a little bit better.
Yeah.
So if I'm Eddie, I'm going, geez, man, just get out there a little bit quicker. And I don't get run over the way I got run over.
Yeah.
But it's good to see Eddie Jackson make a defensive play, get the interception, baited Lance into the throw. He made it look like he's going to go into the middle. He adjusted back when he saw him make a commit to the outside and was athletic enough to get there and make that play. If Eddie Jackson can do that all year, thank you. We'll take 7 to 8 interceptions. They'll be difference makers throughout the year. That's what we want. I think defensively, they're there. Offensively, hey, the offensive line was going to be rough until they get together and they become a cohesive unit. It's going to be a rough unit. It'll take some time. I think you can't judge any of the receivers in that first game.
On 17 passes.
Right, 17 passes, 8 completions.
Yeah.
You know, they were Velcroed on to some of their guys. You know, they weren't making moves. Maybe you can blame the turf. Maybe you can blame the conditions. Hopefully things are up in Green Bay. Green Bay's surface is phenomenal. It's like 50% artificial, 50% real grass.
Yeah.
They got some plastic strands in it. They've got a sub-air system underneath it. If they get rain, it gets sucked right out of there, and they go and they play football. So I think there's like a 50% chance for rain on Sunday.
Yeah, we're not going to see the swimming pool that is. And my favorite part of that, right, is I was telling the guys on my show, I was like, you realize that's the better of the two options we could have had. Like, that's the sad part.
Right. I mean, listen, that field held up very well for guys playing a 60-minute football game on there at the end of it. And by the time they get back on it, it's going to look perfect.
Yeah, that's the thing. If it was the grass, you'd have seen chunks flying up. You didn't see a ton of injuries. I think San Francisco had a couple. Those are big things that are improvements, and it still looked like a swimming pool. So,
and the running game is the running game. The running game is always dependent upon the offensive line blocking. So when they start getting a little better than that running game, but Justin Fields is going to have to be a part of this running game.
Absolutely.
Scrambling. His being able to innovate, him being able to get out of the pocket and get away from trouble is an absolute necessity with this offensive line at this stage. I think this offensive line gets better the more it plays together.
Let me ask you this. Can they improve with how we saw in week 1, the swapping in and out of Tevin Jenkins?
I don't like it.
And I wasn't a fan of it because you're the expert on this, right? Don't you need those 5 guys to be in there building that cohesion to become one? Can you do that swapping guys in and out?
I'd rather have you commit to the one guy until the other one's healthy. And if you want to make a change, make the change.
Yeah.
Whether it's Patrick goes in for Mustafa and then you keep Tevin Jenkins at guard, however you do it, the taking a guy out for 20 plays, you're just getting into a rhythm, figuring out how a guy's playing. And all of a sudden now you're out of the game.
Yeah. And
and quite frankly, if you pulled somebody every time they made a mistake or gave up a pressure, you wouldn't have an offensive lineman on the field.
Yeah, especially with Nick Bosa on the other side.
Yeah, let's be fair. I mean, I don't know why I don't like Tevin Jenkins' personality thing, whatever. It doesn't make a difference. We didn't draft him. He's not my guy.
Yeah.
He looked pretty good on a couple of different occasions. I think you got to give him a chance. He's a big body. He's used to being a tackle, but you can take big tackles and move them into guards, and they can become very effective guards.
He's played well everywhere they've put him pretty much. I mean, left tackle struggled a little bit, but I mean, on the right side for the most part, he's played pretty well when he's gotten a chance to get in there. It does seem like this regime really wants to go away from him. Let's take a look at the other side of the football, though, because we saw a rookie come out and show out that I wasn't expecting to see really get much time based on the preseason and training camp. What'd you like about Dominique Robinson's game how he was able to get to the quarterback and get in the backfield?
Yeah, I mean, listen, they liked him. They saw something in the draft. You know, this Ryan Poles, he likes a particular style of player.
Yeah.
So when he's going around the business of looking, at colleges and has his guys out there, he's kind of giving them a little bit of a template of this is what I like, this is what I look for. This is what I like in defensive ends. This is what I like in defensive tackles. This is the type of athlete we're looking for to play the linebacker position. This is what we're looking for. So you got to give a general philosophy of what you're looking for. And then every once in a while, you'll go with a rule breaker. If a guy is so phenomenal, he doesn't fit the template that you like, but he's an exceptional talent, it's like Jim Furyk's golf swing. It's not a perfect golf swing by any stretch of the imagination, but he does it over and over again, and he can perform at a high level. So you excuse all of it and say, okay, because he's that exceptional, we can go ahead and do a rule breaker here.
Yeah.
Even though it doesn't fit into our system, he's quite effective at what he does. So, I think listen, the proof is in the pudding. If you're a productive football player and you make plays, that's all that matters.
Yeah.
I remember watching Tony Bennett one time, defensive end for the Green Bay Packers, ended up with the Indianapolis Colts when Ron Wolf didn't want to pay him. Tony's come off the corner. The guy'd come out to block him. He avoided him and make the play in the backfield. Two ways to do it. You can destroy the guy and make the play, or you can avoid the guy and make the play. He had the uncanny ability to avoid the guy and make the play.
Yeah.
As long as you make the play, it doesn't make a difference how you do it. Wear and tear wasn't there, but man, he was phenomenal. He can get after the quarterback. So as long as you're making plays, that's all that matters. And that's what the young kid was doing. He was making plays, period.
Do you feel like it was one of those games where, because he talked about, right, he picked up a tendency and he was able to attack it. Does that excite you, or does that kind of like, okay, he kind of picked something up, you're not going to be able to do that against every tackle in the game?
Not against everybody, but, anything that can help.
Yeah.
I played against Don Mosbar, and I was watching Hostetler's hands separate, and it wasn't anything Mosbar was doing. The quarterback was giving it away.
Yeah.
Keep your mouth shut and don't tell anybody what you see, usually is the advice that I give everybody.
Yeah.
No, but it's good that he's looking for something. For me, it's always down and distance. It's 3rd and 6. It's 3rd and goal at the 6-yard line. And the offensive tackle is sitting back with a stance that's going to propel him backwards.
Yeah.
Down and distance and personnel are telling me exactly what they plan on doing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's going to do it more than the little two-step. If you're picking up audibles, you're hearing something and you recognize something, and then they run it a couple of times and you can count on that audible, that's going to give you a little something more too. Fullbacks and the way they used to be in stances, offensive linemen can give you that when they're going to pull. Sure, all those things, if you could find pre-snap reads, they're going to help you be a better football player.
You just tell them keep it to yourself next time. Don't tell the media.
Keep it to yourself. The only ones you tell your teammates. You don't brag about it to the press by any stretch.
Yeah, we might have to play that guy again. Now he's fixing the tendency.
Yeah, exactly.
How would you grade the job, right? Because I think the one thing that Bears fans fear most is that this Bears regime, Luke Getsy's going to figure out how the offense works, that we're going to build something nice, and then somebody's going to say, hey, Luke Getsy should be a head coach, and they're going to take him. How would you grade what Ryan Poles has built here with the coaching staff of Flus? Does he seem like the kind of guy that's going to be able to keep this kind of thing going?
I think Mike Tomlin's a defensive coach, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Mike Tomlin's been there forever.
Yep.
And if people leave, he just goes ahead and he picks up new people.
Yeah.
And they have an offensive philosophy, and that's what they do. If you can promote from within, you promote from within. So Luke Getsy, I think, isn't going to be a coaching candidate after year one.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be here at least a couple of years. They're going to find out whether Justin Fields is going to be the quarterback of the future or not. And remember, you don't have to make a decision on him until after next year.
Yeah.
And the reason Mitch Trubisky is not a quarterback here is because you weren't going to pay him $30 million, and that's what he wanted to stay here.
Yeah.
He wasn't going to accept $5 million to be the quarterback of the Chicago Bears. If he would have, then you could say, hey, Mitch Trubisky can be the quarterback of the Chicago Bears for $5 million.
Yeah.
Okay? But he wanted $30 million to be here. And you're not going to pay Mitch Trubisky $30 million. That decision will come upon you when you got to pick up the 5th-year option on Justin Fields, and that's going to come next year.
Yeah.
So I ain't worried about making any decisions on Justin Fields. I'm watching Justin Fields try to develop.
Yeah,
but
and
it is an absolute necessity that he uses his legs.
Absolutely.
And, I don't think the offense is going to be an absolute juggernaut, but I think slowly but surely the offense can get better and better and better. And I blame 50% of what we saw in the weather last week.
Yeah.
And 50% of the newness of everything. And then, hopefully that keeps getting better and better. This team's going to be a whole lot better in November than they are now.
Yeah.
So it's just, can everybody be patient for the next 8 weeks as you see some rough football being played? And they're going to need to be playing better when they run into that juggernaut of a schedule where you got Buffalo, you got Green Bay, you got somebody else. That's you got to be playing your best football so you can go out there and battle and survive.
Yeah, I said I'm gonna have to towel off Bears fans over on the YouTube side because there's a stretch there we play a lot of bad teams in a row, and I got the Bears picking up some wins there.
Yeah, so do I.
Calm down, guys. Calm down.
Jets, Giants, Houston. Dallas without Dak Prescott, there's a break that you end up getting.
Yeah, and that was a win I had the Bears getting anyway. Just because we always for some reason play Dallas really well.
Right. And I don't know about the Commanders. I don't know what to think of the Commanders.
I don't know. That's such a
I don't know.
The defense is really good, but then Carson Wentz is also there. Like, it's very confusing.
And they play the Jags, so how am I supposed to judge it when you beat the Jaguars? I love Jacksonville, but I don't know what to think.
Yeah, it's your old team, but they're just putting pieces in there trying to see what's going to work, and they're probably going to revamp this whole thing after this season again.
Well, they'll keep the quarterback though. The quarterback's not going anywhere.
I think Trevor will be there for a little while with how high they took him. Here's one thing, right? That you've talked about Justin Fields, you talked about Justin in his game. Does it give you a little bit of like, okay, I feel better about this guy that he was able to have those, while they weren't many plays, that bounce back mentality, bouncing back in that second half of the game, using his legs more. I don't know if that was his decision or the coach's decision, but he definitely got out using his legs more in that second half, showing more of his game. Do you feel better about him heading into week 2 because he looked like he adjusted himself pretty well?
As long as he's willing to run when he's got to scramble, and that's the one thing Mitch did his first year. And then somebody's whispered in his ear, to be a legitimate quarterback, you got to be able to pass from the pocket. The hell with that. What you got to do is find ways to win games. That's it. And if you got to use your legs in a scramble to win games, if you don't have a running game and the running game's not happening and your running back's averaging 1.7 yards per carry, if you're the guy that's got to run the ball, run the ball. The guy in Buffalo runs the ball, Josh Allen. He had the most rushes for the Buffalo Bills this week. Yeah. Sometimes that's the way it is. With not so much the RPOs, but with putting an athletic quarterback in there, and if there's nobody open or he can't find anybody open, get your keister moving down the field and get us positive yardage. Yeah. 2nd 17 is terrible, okay? 2nd 8 is a whole lot better than 2nd 17. Yeah. Even if it's only a 2-yard gain, it's better.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that's what we saw more in the second half of that game. The first half was atrocious. Like, he was making terrible reads.
The only passes that were happening were screen passes.
Yeah, and I think
3 running back screen passes. I'm like, holy mother of hell! This is the passing game. Like, what's Luke Getsy doing up there?
Here's my question to you on the offensive scheme. Do you like that, right? We heard in the offseason, hey, we're going to go run heavy. We saw in the preseason, hey, we're going to go run heavy. And now, first game of the season, now the weather kind of permitting makes you do it a little bit more, even though Trey Lance was still slinging it. But do you like that the Bears have, at a minimum, right, committed to building their team and running their team with a specific style of offense, and then they're making adjustments inside of that?
There is no greater offensive suicide than trying to run into an 8-man front. And that's what the Bears kept doing over and over and over again. I think out of necessity, out of the weather, out of all of it, out of wanting to keep their defense on the sideline a little bit so the time of possession wasn't totally slanted one way or the other. Sometimes you do that to save your defense. Yeah. I can understand a little bit of what they were doing, early on. But, man, when you're running against the 8-man front and you got an unblocked guy just piercing through the line and you're like, well, who's supposed to block him? Nobody. Yeah, because you don't have anybody to block that guy. That's why that guy looks like an all-star. Yeah. That's why that guy's going to make the Pro Bowl, because he's got great momentum going into week 2, because he looks like a world beater, but nobody can touch him because you don't have a guy that can touch him. Yeah. So that's why I mean it's offensive suicide trying to run into an 8-man front. It doesn't make any sense unless you get him to overcommit, you get him to make a mistake, and then you cut back where he should have been. And that happened once or twice, I think, on the touchdown run. Yeah, that happened where he overflowed and the cutback came back behind the offensive line. He walked into the end zone. Yeah, but you can't bank on that. Can't bank on them. They're going to make a mistake all the time. Yeah. So I'd prefer a quick passing game out of an 8-man front. Nice slants, sluggos, slant and go. And they started to do a little something when they tried to, they finally started going deep a little bit. Yeah. Hey, they're going to sit there and mug you all day if you don't have anybody who can go past anybody. So find a way to get past people. And if they're going to mug your corners, right, they're going to mug your receivers, you got to run people out of the slot, 2-way go, get them out behind those corners that are mugging your receivers. Okay, you mug them. Yeah. But guess what? When you're mugging that guy, that means there's going to be a void behind you. So put 2 guys together, get them out to the perimeter, and complete that ball, because that's the only way you get people to kind of back off of you. So you start completing stuff down the field, because no defensive coordinator likes giving up 80-yard plays, 51-yard plays, 30-yard plays. They hate it. They want to die by 1,000 cuts.
Yeah.
They don't want to die by the big just beheading. It drives them crazy.
You saw it. The Pettis play turned everything around for the Bears, and that was the big shot they took. We got Jurko here with us. Last question, Jurk. Appreciate you for taking time out. Know you got to go do the show. Here's, as we're heading into week 2, we didn't see a lot of craziness in week 1 because of the weather conditions. We saw some big plays, couple of shots here, but for the most part, like you said, death by 1,000 cuts on both sides, on both scoring drives there. What do you think from this week 1 the Bears can take as momentum into week 2 and say, we did that really well, let's keep doing that versus the Green Bay Packers?
Well, they adopted the chip on the shoulder philosophy, us against them. So that's something that's going to carry this team through the rest of the year. We've been disrespected. Everybody thinks that we're a Joe. People still don't believe in us, even though we beat San Francisco. Everybody thinks it was because of the rain. It was because of this. It was because of that. It was Trey Lance being inexperienced. It's going to be all blah, 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 blah. So they keep the mentality with them. They keep the us versus them against them. And if they keep playing well defensively, I think they're always going to put themselves in a position to win. I think you'll see more offense this week, more innovative offense. The thing you saw San Francisco do, just to let you go, and why Shanahan sometimes is a genius.
Yeah.
His first 2 plays, running plays, were what? Jet sweeps, right?
Yep.
One, he made you go perimeter left. One, he made you go perimeter right. So what are you thinking on the defensive line now? And you're thinking linebacker-wise, I can't attack. I've got to be worried about getting left and right. And what does that put you as a defense? Put you on the back foot. Now, San Francisco couldn't, once they built that, they looked like they were going to do something special, but they only had 7 points at half.
Yeah.
And the longer you stay in a game, and I thought the Bears weren't the better team, but as long as you stay in a game, you're at home, the weather's a little salty, they're not perfect conditions, the better chance you've got in pulling a game out. And it worked perfectly for the Bears, and they found a way to pull that game out. But, early on, it didn't look good.
No.
Early on, it looked poor. And, they got a sack to knock him out, the one-handed sack by the young man. Yeah. Tore him down by the jersey and got him onto the ground. That took him out of field goal range. And that's the type of play. That's the one big play there. Looked like nothing. They're going to get off the field, but it took him out of field goal range to stop them from being able to score a little bit more. He overthrew a guy on that same possession. Yeah. A guy that might have been open. So, hey, there's another little break you get, but it's a rookie quarterback. We've seen rookie quarterbacks overthrow guys here in this, with the Bears too. So a couple of little plays that kept you in the game, kept it 7-0, 10-0. All of a sudden you scored a touchdown. You look up and you go, man, it's 10-7. We're in the game. Yeah. That's where you got a little bit of belief, and then they found a way to go ahead and win that game.
I think me and you have been in lockstep with. I've got the Bears finishing 9-8. I just think I don't think it's dominant. I don't think this team comes out and they're great, but I think just based on being up against a third place schedule, I don't see them being this god-awful football team that so many people have said.
It's going to be a battle every week.
Absolutely.
It's going to be a battle every week. It'll be a dogfight. You're going to lose a couple of these games, and you're going to scratch your head, and you're going to be ticked off. But it'll be a fight. They'll be in every game. Even against Buffalo, they're going to be in it. Now, they might lose by 14 or 17 at the end, but they're going to be in the damn thing.
You got us in it against Buffalo? I'm scared of Buffalo. I'm not going to lie.
I am too, but I got us in it. I got us in it because of the defense.
Jurk, appreciate you for tuning in and joining the show. Know you got to go do Crosstalk Unhinged. I'll be listening to that as well. You got anything coming up that you want to let the people know about, or just tune into the show?
Well, we're at Live Golf tomorrow. Just tune in and listen. We're out at Rich Harvest Farm, so we're going to have a little bit of fun tomorrow. Friday, we're going to be out at Hooters in Higgins Road up in Park Ridge. So we're going to have a little bit of fun. We'll be out and about pressing the palms. So we'll be, we just do what we do. We have fun. We talk sports. And football's back, so we got 6 months of joy.
Might have to pull up on you at Hooters, man.
Come on by.
As always, man, appreciate you guys for tuning in and rocking with us. Make sure that you hit that like button, subscribe to the page, and let us know how you feel about this Bears dub in the comments below. It's a good week when the Bears win. As always, man, it's your boy Pat the Designer back at it again. Y'all stay safe out there, Chicago. Peace.